This is Moments of Truth, the webcast with and for customer success professionals. I'm your host, Andrew Marks, co-founder of Success Hacker. Today, I'm joined by Gala Samokieszyn. Gala currently serves as the lead customer success manager for Gym Launch, a consulting and strategy business for gym owners and by gym owners. As a lead CSM, Gala has the unique opportunity for overseeing the client experience while simultaneously focusing on the initial onboarding. Gala began her career in hospitality after graduating from Florida Gulf Coast University with a BS in resort and hospitality management. She has worked in Las Vegas for MGM Resorts International before transitioning to the Walt Disney Company in leadership at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Gala, is it the happiest place on earth?
One could say yes.
In 2019, Gala was tapped to transition into a customer success role, and her life has never been the same since. Since then, she's been obsessed with customer success, listening to podcasts, reading books, and joining weekly webinars with the community Gain, Grow, Retain, and a recent graduate of our Level 1 certification program. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Very excited about that.
Gala, welcome to the program, and thanks for making time for me today.
Thanks, Andrew. Happy to be here.
So, Gala, recently I've been delivering a number of private boot camps for companies at various stages of growth. A subject that tends to get a lot of discussion going right out of the gate are those initial moments of truth that can make or break your relationship with your new customer. You know, during that initial handoff from sales to post-sales. And that first look, that first experience with the onboarding process. Now, I'm a huge fan of Chris Voss. He details in his book, Never Split the Difference, that it's so important to establish a relationship with people that you're dealing with, to understand their perspective. You know, he does an excellent job of connecting why this is not only important for a hostage negotiator, but also for those that want to succeed in any business that relies on you truly understanding your customer and what makes them tick, which is that empathy aspect of what we do. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about that because it's top of mind. What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, this is actually something that I'm very, very passionate about with my team, talking about the effects of empathetic service and how it is so crucial to have that relationship with your customer, because now they're buying outcomes, right? Not necessarily a physical product. They're buying a dream with you, and it's whether or not you're going to deliver on that dream. And for me personally, in the business that I currently work in, I honestly started by building out an empathy map for that customer, because like you mentioned in my intro, I work for a consulting agency for gyms. I myself have never owned a gym. So it was harder for me to understand what they're going through and what they're experiencing. So I went through that process, and I actually just last week did this with the entire company. We did it as a group so that we can all be operating off of the same guiding light and that same principle of like, who are we talking to? And what are they trying to achieve? I think when we flip it on its head, and instead of saying, you know, my customer will be successful when insert standard answer, we've now just started asking the customer, you know, you're going to be successful with our organization when, and we write down what they say. And then we make sure that every time we meet or interact with them, that we're constantly bringing up that goal over and over and over again. And since we've started doing that, I mean, the effects on retention have increased, the effects on employee morale have increased, and our customer satisfaction has skyrocketed as well from this simple mindset shift. So I think to your point of, you know, if it's good enough for a hostage negotiator, it's good enough for us, you know. Yeah. I think it's super important to just kind of spin it on its head and think about it a little differently, and the effects are huge.
You know, it's a core element of the success plan, you know, which we teach in level 1, that you need to have a definition for success as well as quantifying that definition. But what I've heard from a lot of CSMs in the past is that, well, it's hard for my customer to define what success is.
Yes, and I will say that you just have to ask the right questions and probe a little deeper. So when you pose the question, I know that I'm going to be successful with your organization when, and they say, I don't know, when I make money. Well, how much money? What are you going to use the money for? Right. What do you need the money for? Right. Oh, I need to make $20,000 a month so I can cover my rent and have a little extra on the side. Well, that's a lot deeper than I need to make money. That's a very specific quantity and it's a very specific reason. Yeah. So when I'm on these welcome and onboarding calls with our clients, I probe until I beat it. What is the phrase?
You beat it with a stick.
Yeah. like there's like a dead horse phrase in there somewhere. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right, yeah. So like, I just keep going deeper and deeper. Yeah. For me, the goal is like, how can I pull on the heartstrings while also getting to their brain at the same time? I'm trying to probe deeper and ask those discovery questions. And it's interesting that every single onboarding call that I do, I usually do about 5 per day. I don't hear the same answer. Right. Like it's very different. It might have a similar thread that ties through it, right? Maybe it's a financial goal or a personal goal. But when someone says, I need to make enough money to hire someone so that I can spend time with my 1-year-old, I mean, that's just they've just gifted me all of this information. Yeah. And to your original point of like, that is a massive moment of truth. And one of the reasons that I think customer success can sometimes be a little daunting or difficult for people to buy into is that it's very, very hard to pay attention to these moments of truth and take action on them. It would be very easy for me to just say, oh, wow, you have a 1-year-old and move on. It's right. A lot harder to take that information and essentially use it as fuel for future conversations and future interactions. And that is so difficult, and it requires a skill set of like you said earlier, empathy, active listening. But
active listening, open-ended questions, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And for me personally, I'm on Zoom 6 hours a day with customers, and there's so many conversations back to back. It's very difficult to put on the face. I always say that I'm going on stage. I go on stage and I have to put on this essentially show of being the first interaction of them post-sale. So like you said, as we were starting here today, that initial handoff from sales to customer success or post-sale, whatever that looks like in your organization, I bet you if my team is listening right now, they know exactly what I'm about to say, because I talk about it every single day, is that it's not a handoff, it's a handshake. You have to not just dump it on me, you need to gently pass it over to me so that I have the information to successfully bring that customer on and have that relationship that is so key and so vital. And since, in my personal work life right now, since we implemented the handshake, like I said, retention, morale, satisfaction has just skyrocketed.
I love that. It's not a handoff, it's a handshake. It's so true.
Yeah. Right? One implies that I'm done with it, and the other one implies that I'm creating a relationship with you. Yeah. And I say this every single day, so I bet you my team is rolling their eyes right about now if they're listening.
It's all right. Let them roll their eyes.
Handshake.
And I know you're just starting the Chris Voss book of Never Split the Difference. You talked about the 1-year-old. I want to spend more time with my 1-year-old, right? So you'll find this out later in the book. But those are some of those things that he referred to as that he refers to as black swans, right?
For sure.
There's things that we know, and there's things that we don't know, right? Which is what we learn from discovery. Yep. And if we do it right, what we also find out about are things that we don't know, mm-hmm. right? Because in a typical discovery, if you ask the right questions, you find out about the fact that person wants to spend more time with their 1-year-old. That's important.
Exactly. And it's just,
right?
And I think the key skill here for anyone in customer success having those conversations is to take that information to heart and to genuinely enjoy the conversation. I mean, I was just speaking to someone yesterday who was telling me about their experience during the pandemic and how what he missed more than anything was taking his 11-year-old daughter to swim lessons, and that they'll never take that for granted again because they get to spend time with each other. That I'm writing this all down while he's talking. Yeah. And when I talk to him in the future, has your daughter been able to get back to swim? That is all that it is. And it's just, and it genuinely interests me to hear about what people they come to us with an issue. We come to them with a solution, but we need to learn a little bit more about them and to go deeper. And like you just said, open-ended questions, probing until you've just beat it with a stick, and getting to the bottom of why they're really there and what we're trying to solve and what is their definition of success. What are you trying to accomplish?
And I love that. Yes, you got to get to their definition of success, and we got to figure out what it is that motivates them and all those things. But I want to focus on what you just said, which I consider is a very much a best practice, is when you talk to them again, telling that individual, hey, how are the swimming lessons? All right. 100%. That simple question, which has nothing to do with the topic at hand. Hey, we're doing an onboarding, blah, blah, blah. What that does, though,
exactly,
so important. It creates a connection.
Exactly. Right. And I think we can all say with confidence that we feel that if someone, for me personally, I'm obsessed with my dog. He's the love of my life. Yeah. And I love true crime and I love to bake. And so when people ask me about those things or send me an article or a podcast that made them think of me, these are things that it blows you away when someone can think of that. And whether you don't need to know what their process is, right? Like my process is I have a notebook under my camera, and while they're talking, I'm just writing. And yes, it ends up being super messy. And sometimes I write over the words, but the moment I hang up, I log that information so that before I talk to that customer again, I'm able to just revisit our conversation and the thing that really makes them tick. Like swim lessons with their daughter. I'm proposing to my girlfriend on Saturday when I jump out of a plane. We're going to skydive and I'm going to propose to her when I land. You know that I set a reminder on Monday to ask this customer, how did the proposal go? Right. Those little nuggets. I honestly became obsessed with the concept when I studied hospitality in college, and I'll never forget a professor, shout out Dr. Alexakis, when he went over, he had a lecture when he talked about like there's 30 to 40 moments of truth per interaction with someone, like a small interaction, whether it's like what they're wearing, what they say, what they talk about. It's just whether you choose to ignore it or choose to go, I know you love sports memorabilia, Andrew, where did it all go? Oh, you're moving. Like here we are, and you learn so much about people. And it's so hard to do. It's a skill set that like it requires you to pay attention and kind of always be on stage.
Now, there are some ways that you can kind of hack that. All right. One of the ways that I love hacking that is recording my Zoom calls. So I've been recording Zoom calls since we were a Zoom customer. I think it's been now 5 years, right? I think people are hesitant. I've got to ask their permission. Well, actually, Zoom, I believe, tells you that the call is being recorded. But more importantly, what it does gives you the ability to go back and either listen to it or you can get it transcribed. Hell, I paid $3 for a 30-minute transcription so that I can pay attention to the conversation that I'm having.
Yeah, another life hack that I use, Andrew, if I'm on a group call with customers and we talk about things and I need them to remember a certain concept, I'll say, okay, what's the one key takeaway you took from this call? Drop it in the chat. Then after the call, I'll pull up the Zoom recording and look what they put in the chat, and then I'll transcribe that information into their profile. So I'm like, Gala said she was going to take away this, and that means next time I talk to Gala, I need to ask her about that. So it's kind of that's like a personal hack that I've done when you're trying to deal with a group setting. You just get them to type it out themselves and screenshot it later. Yeah. So another life hack for it. But that's why when a lot of people say to me, what you talk about isn't scalable. We can't do this at scale. I'm like, that is absolutely incorrect. You just don't want to do it at scale because it is so hard. And it requires, again, active listening, probing questions, personality, empathy, kindness, attention, like all of these things that it might not be everyone's skill set. So if you find those right people who can do those things, I think you've just untapped something within any organization that you can obviously measure it with KPIs, but the impact that it has on the self, meaning like the joy that we get to bring to other people when we ask them about their kids' swim lesson, but also on the, like I said, employee morale. Selfishly, when the customers are doing better, we're doing better because we're all happier in any organization.
Yeah. course.
So I think for me, it's just so fun I actively try to seek out these moments of truth and these interactions, and I love to have fun with it. I mean, I've done some crazy things with moments of truth. I'll tell you that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. You're gonna
okay, I've got one. I'm actually looking at it.
You're gonna tell us some stories? I mean, you can't throw that out without telling us a story.
Well, I can tell you. Okay, well, I'll tell you a story about how I really, really got into empathetic service. But I'll just say, a recent moment of truth that came up is I was talking to a customer, and we were talking about tattoos. It just came up in conversation. I don't know. I don't remember why. But I made a joke. I was like, when you hit this certain revenue milestone, I will get a tattoo of your logo. And they were like, yeah, right, whatever. And they just hit that milestone. And I have here sitting on my desk a tattoo that I had made of their logo. And I'm going to it's like a temporary tattoo.
Temporary tattoo, right?
Yeah. This one's a temporary tattoo. And I was going to put it on and send them a picture. And but it's just things like that, where you think they're ever going to forget that. No. That's going to be something, and it cost me $2 to make it. It's nothing, exactly. But
that's college. She tattooed our logo when we hit our milestone. I'm never going to forget that.
I will let you know how it goes. But I will say, when I really became obsessed with empathetic service, on a very specific night of my life, and if you'll indulge me, I will share the story with you. It was when I was working at Walt Disney World. I was working at a signature dining restaurant, which is just an upscale restaurant that they had on property. And this restaurant was very unique because it was on the water, overlooking Cinderella's castle. We played the fireworks music inside the restaurant so that you don't even have to go to the park. You could just watch it while you're eating your lobster and steak and lobster, and the music played inside, and it was really beautiful. And I was the closing manager, and the restaurant closed at 10 p.m. and someone walked in at 9:59, and it upset me. I really, really did not want to sit this person, because that meant that my night just got extended even later than it was already going to be. But technically it was 9:59, and this person was also in their pajamas, I'd like to point out. Okay, so this is a nice restaurant, and she was wearing, it was cow jumping over the moon pajamas, I'll never forget. And we sat her and myself and the server, we were pissed. We were so upset because, we thought we were going to get out around 12 o'clock midnight. We just extended our night to at least 1 a.m. And all of a sudden, in the, couple minutes into her sitting, this woman runs so fast through the restaurant to the bathroom. And it wasn't like I don't want to miss the fireworks run. It was like something was wrong. And my hostess, she was an intern and she was a nursing student. She was like, I'll go in there and see how she's doing. And I was like, sure, go for it. And it turns out that the woman unfortunately, she had a colostomy bag that had burst. Ooh. And it was terrible. And she was just patching it up with paper towels. And she came out of the bathroom and I said, ma'am, I can go to your room and get you another bag. How can I help? I just felt so guilty. Mm-hmm. And she said to me, she goes, this is one of the last meals of my life. I'm damn well going to enjoy it. And I just remember thinking to myself, I almost let my emotions and my attitude impact this person's night and this person's, and I share that story because I tell people that I work with, you shouldn't wait until someone tells you that they're dying for you to do the right thing and to provide that level of service. Because again, it's just an attitude shift. It's a mindset. All of this is a mindset. It can be done by anyone if you have the right attitude. Because she could have walked in at 9:59, and if I had a good attitude, I would have been like, yes, one more customer. Right. More revenue, more opportunity to make someone happy, more opportunity for moments of truth to see what happens. Instead, I was like, I would really like to get home and see my boyfriend. This is so annoying. Yeah. And after that night, it truly just triggered something in my brain where you never know what someone's going through, period. And you shouldn't wait to let it escalate to them having to share that information with you. for you to be a good person. And I share that story and I'm ashamed of it. Like, I'm very ashamed of that version of myself. But I also feel like that moment happened for me to have that switch turn on. And I'm very cognizant of it in every interaction, that you never know who is the cow jumping over the moon lady, really, when you're talking to them.
I love that story. I mean, and that was a major moment of truth for you.
100%.
Right? It was a major moment of truth for you. I love that story.
And I'll never forget. It's funny. I don't know who this person is. It was years ago. We didn't interact much past that. And she's impacted my life beyond anything that she would ever dream of, I'm sure.
That's key. And as you'll learn as you continue your journey with
level 2,
never split the difference.
Never split the difference. I thought you were going level 2.
Difference. You know, that, like I said, there are things that you don't know, and if you give yourself an opportunity to listen and to learn and to ask the right questions, to open up yourself, others will open up to you as well.
Yeah.
And not only will you be able to extract the information that you need to help them achieve what they're trying to achieve, what you'll also do is you'll build that relationship and become that person's trusted advisor. That type of interaction builds trust.
100%. Right? And it's fun. It's fun to find out this information from people and act upon it. It's fun to get a temporary tattoo made from a conversation I had 6 months ago. It's fun to just think outside the box and wow people. I just had someone who broke their nose. We sent her chicken noodle soup. I mean, things like that. It's like that. What does that take? What does that take from me? You know, just a couple minutes, but it's just that active care that I really love.
And I think like you said, it's something that we're all capable of doing.
Everyone is capable. You just have to have the cow jumping over the moon lady sometimes to turn it on.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to wait to that point, because then they'll think about it for years later, like myself.
Yeah.
But if that's what it takes, it could happen any day. You don't expect it. But I just think that translates way beyond customer success into just like your life. You know, this is how you treat people. This is how you interact with people on a daily basis. And when you ask that person how their camping trip was, they made a point to tell you they were going camping. That means that they want to know, they want you to ask about it. Yeah. If you know it's my birthday, because I told you that it's my birthday, you should probably say happy birthday. You know, those types of things, those triggers, there's moments of truth in every interaction. There's hundreds that you go through per day. Are you paying attention? Is the question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not your birthday, is it?
No, it's not my birthday. Okay. No, you're safe for a couple weeks.
Okay, good.
That was just an example.
Wait, when's your birthday?
June 14th.
June 14th.
Flag Day. Every day, every year on my birthday, there's a bunch of flags out. And it's for me. Tell
me about your dog. What kind of dog is it?
He's a golden doodle. He's the love of my life.
Cute.
His name is Tobias.
Tobias?
Yes, from Arrested Development.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, oh my God, Tobias from Arrested Development, is it?
That's exactly, and he has a very similar personality.
Oh my God, I love that show.
Yes, so funny. Yeah, he is the love of my life, and we love him very dearly.
Does your husband know this?
Yes.
So Tobias comes before your husband?
It is a daily conversation of like where we're at.
Nice. Wow.
But I always say, you know, so my husband had the dog before we met. So I'm like, you come first, because I wouldn't have the dog if I didn't have you. Yeah. That's my phrase.
Yeah. And tell me more about the true crime. What kind of true crime? I love the true crime documentaries on Netflix.
Oh my gosh, Andrew. Okay. If I'm not reading books about customer success or listening to the customer success podcast, I'm listening to Crime Junkie. It is a true crime podcast where they talk about missing persons, murders, kidnappings. And it is so interesting to me. And I've often reflected, why do I love this stuff so much? It's the investigation piece, right? Like diving deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And then I think that's what customer success is. It's investigating and then putting the clues together to find the common outcome, right? Yeah. So I listen to true crime podcasts every day.
Well, I think you're gonna, like I said, I think you're gonna enjoy Chris's book because it's
When I heard about the book and it was like a negotiator, I was like, oh, this is my alley, 100%. Yeah. But yeah, all the Netflix documentaries, all the HBO stuff. When you're moving in the next couple of weeks, just plug in your ear and listen to Crime Junkie.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
The best podcast. I listen literally every day. It's my favorite podcast.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, they tell great stories and they're really good at the investigative piece. So
excellent. And then I got to ask, what do you like to bake?
My signature recipe, meaning anytime I'm with my family, they're always asking me for my chocolate chip banana nut bread or French baguettes.
Ooh, nice.
Yes, I love to bake. When I was in like third grade, my teacher thought like I couldn't focus, and she told my parents, get her involved in something that requires, precision and math and thinking. And my mom bought me my first baking book, which I still have to this day, Mom's Big Book of Baking, and, involved me measuring and portioning things out. And that's actually the reason I studied hospitality in school, is I always just wanted to work in the restaurant industry, which I spent many years in. And I credit all of the customer service and success knowledge I have to that training and to that time in the restaurant industry. So it's a love of my life. I love to read food blogs, and I've got wine certifications, and my husband and I, we plan our vacations around which Michelin star restaurant we're going to eat at. So that's kind of where we're at with our life.
You truly are a foodie.
Yes, 100%. We flew to London just so we could go to this specific restaurant.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, 13 courses later.
I'm not a big fan of chocolate chip banana bread, but I love banana bread. My wife makes amazing Hamantaschen.
Oh,
amazing Hamantaschen. And she started making challah. It's funny because I'm always talking in my trainings. I use an example of you're trying to achieve an objective. My example, where we take the objective, we break it down, one objective down to 3 key actions, which serve as your leading indicators, and then the 5 tactics for each of the key actions, right? I always talk about losing weight, right? I got to lose 20 pounds in 3 months, all right? And that's part of it, right? It's all that really amazing baking my wife.
Yes, I love it. I'm a Great British Baking Show, huge fan.
Love it. Gala, thank you so much. I loved speaking with you about this. A great conversation. Love the experience. Love the stories. It's been wonderful, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again sometime soon.
Thanks, Andrew. I'll talk to you soon.